Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm basically taking some time to describe how I installed these Flarespace Flares onto my 2020 Ford Transit camper van. Let's get into it, and here is how I installed these flares. I would say the most difficult part for the installation was the painting of the flares, definitely. I'm not used to the auto body painting, so that was definitely the most difficult part. We ended up painting them with a big paint gun. I will link it right here or show a picture of it. I got it at Princess Auto. It was only 39 bucks, and if I was gonna go back and do it all again, I would just automatically start by doing that. I went in and sanded and primed the flares, and then we went in with the paint sprayer all over. We did 3 coats of that to get this beautiful color. We had to go in and make the cuts. On the inside of the van, it's actually perfect the way that they laid it out. You don't even really have to measure. You can just draw your outline, and it matches the original curvature of the van. So you can just follow this for a perfect cut. Let me show you inside. The flare basically followed the outline of this panel. So even right here, it's just a straight line through, cut all the way around. And once the panel was out, the panel for the flare fit perfectly on the outside. I would suggest cutting the van from the inside out, just because following the natural curvature of the van, it's a lot easier from the inside because you actually have the tracing there. And you'll get a perfect cut on the outside. So cut from the inside, work out with a jigsaw. And then after the hole was in the van, we prepped the surface for the flare to go on. That basically included rust paint on the open metal. And then we went in with the flare. They actually include the adhesive that you need to put the flare on the vehicle. Unfortunately, the adhesive is black. So, as you can tell, my van is white, my flares are white, so having a black adhesive was another tricky element in the process. We had to be very careful not to get the adhesive anywhere but its intended location. After the hole was in the van, we basically had the flares laid down. This side was on the ground and the other side was up. We went around with the caulking gun and applied the adhesive to the flare directly. And then we took the flare with a good amount of the adhesive on, and we used this corner to mimic where it was going. So we lined up this bottom corner. There was 2 of us doing it, and we basically just put it in place using this edge as the guideline. We had about 6 strips of tape that were already taped on the top of there and just kind of like fed upwards. So when I was holding this on, I was able to just grab the pieces of tape and put it down. When I was watching these videos on YouTube before I did the installation myself, I thought the tape was an interesting idea because it didn't seem like it was gonna hold the weight of the flare, but actually the adhesive is so strong that it suctions onto the van and holds it up almost entirely by itself. And you're thinking, well, I don't want to leave it, I don't want to chance it if it falls off. It was stuck there. I put the tape there just precautionary because I saw other people do it. So I put a couple strips on this side to hold it onto the van and let it cure. Unfortunately, we were dealing with some bad weather at the time, so I also threw about 3 or 4 tarps over the van and secured them down just in case any moisture was gonna get into it. We were kind of left with black lines from the adhesive peeking out from it being squished in place. So I went in with a white caulking and I filled in this gap just to finish it off, and I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. That's how I finished off the outside. On the inside, the day after we installed the panels, I went in with the same adhesive and I basically just like piped it into the gaps and then went around with my thumb and smoothed it and basically just ran through all the adhesive that I had on hand for the flares because I knew I wasn't going to use it for something else, and I wanted to make sure they were extra coated and extra sealed, so I wasn't gonna have to deal with leaks later on. Now inside my van, and I'm just gonna show you what I mean by applying the extra adhesive on the inside, just to kind of bridge the gap of where the adhesive went and where it didn't go. I basically took the caulking gun, put it in between the metal of the wall and the fiberglass of the flare, just so I could have a nice even playing field right here where it didn't dip in from the application when we originally put it on just for the flare. If you look, I'm just talking about this black edge. I just went in and piped it all the way along the inside of here to get a nice even seal, and then would just run my finger along it. It's been tested in some major rainstorms. We haven't had any leaks or anything. Actually, it's so dry, and I'm very impressed with how they're holding up. And same with driving, everything is going perfectly. Basically, that's the entire application of how I put these Flarespace Flares into my 2020 Ford Transit camper van. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you have any questions, make sure to leave me a comment down below, and if not, subscribe for more content like this. I'll see you next time.